Hello, let's talk about false information on web and social media. Before we start, let's imagine that one of your friends learns from internet and believes that President Biden is dead, and the guy in the White House is a doppelganger. Or another friend won't get vaccinated because he was told by his friend that the shot is actually a government tracking device. How can you convince him otherwise? It might be a hard task. Nowadays, the spread of false information can be more harmful because false information spreads far and wide on social media, and there is an average delay of 12 hours between start of false information spread and that of its debunking information. 12 hours are enough for a piece of false information to dominate public opinion. Today, let's talk more about false information in networks and possible ways to detect it. Based on the intent and knowledge, false information can be categorized into the opinion-based and fact-based. Opinion-based false information means unique ground truth does not exist, as in case of reviewing products on e-commerce websites. On the other hand, fact-based false information consists of lies about entities that have unique ground truth value. False information spread is orchestrated on large scale by using fake social media accounts, such as bots and Sockpuppets. Once their false message spreads and deceives readers, the readers themselves echo and spread the message, so on and so forth. Several reasons led to deception by false information. First, humans are unable to distinguish false information from true ones when they come across them. And this is difficult even when they're trained to do so. Second, echo chambers are formed in social platforms such that true and false information is spread among different groups of users, which do not interact with one another. And finally, human biases lead to increase in susceptibility with some demographics such as less educated and low customers of media being more likely to fall for false information.
So from what Olivia has discussed, false information is a very broad topic. And in the rest of our presentation, we'll only talk about sock puppetry and schemes to identify them. So technically speaking, a sock puppet is a user account controlled by an individual who has more than one account. And we call this individual the puppet master. As an example, I can have another cynical anonymous Twitter account that frequently criticizes my professor for giving too many assignments. That's not something I should do on my public account, right? And in 2017, Kerma et al. Published their work on identifying sock puppetry in online discussion communities. They identified more than 3,000 sock puppets comprising about 1,600 puppet masters. Their approach is relatively conservative in that they labeled a group of accounts as sock puppets only when these accounts post from the same IP address, in the same discussion, and also in close temporal proximity. And the results show that these sock puppets behave strikingly different from normal accounts. So first, linguistically, two sock puppets are more similar to each other than to an ordinary user when they all participate in similar discussions. Well, I hope this awkward example below illustrates this point. As you can see, the ordinary user's comments is more detailed than the sock puppet. The author selects pairs of sock puppets and also pairs of sock puppet and ordinary user based on their similar posting activities. And they compare the differences in their language patterns. They calculate the difference in number of word length, in number of function words, personal pronouns, accent words, and also some other metrics. The two graphs show here show the results for differences in average word length and number of personal pronouns between two kind of pairs. And the pink column here represents the sock puppets pair, and the red one represents the sock puppet and ordinary user pair. And roughly speaking, the pink column is about half in height compared to red one, And this shows less varieties in language patterns between Sockpuppets and, well, then compared to the normal users. I only include 2 graphs here for conciseness, and the graphs for other metrics actually behave in a similar ways compared to these 2. And there are also behavioral patterns of Sockpuppets that can be found. For example, Sockpuppets start fewer discussions and post more in existing discussions, compared to normal users who, in average, have 51% of their posting being replies. The Sockpuppets send about 65 of their posts in existing discussions. And Sockpuppets also tend to participate in discussions with more controversial topics. And they also, in a pair, upvote each other more, within average about 9.35 votes within a pair of Sockpuppets compared to the 0.4 votes within normal users. So far, we have talked about both linguistic and behavioral characteristics of the Sockpuppets. Are those patterns truly helpful in identifying them? Well, based on the observation and findings from analysis, the authors identified 3 sets of features in finding Sockpuppets and Sockpuppet pairs. They are activity features, which derived from a user's posting activities, community features, which are interaction patterns between a user and the rest of the community, and also post features, which are the linguistic feature appeared in users' posts. The authors further constructed a model using a random forest classifier and measure the pattern and measure the performance using receiver operating characteristic. The result is actually quite promising, as you can see in the figure here, with an 85% of accuracy in identifying Sockpuppet pairs by using the activity feature alone. And the probability rises to 91% when we take all features into account. Well, for those who wish not to dive into the research world, the biggest takeaway from this paper, and probably also from our presentation, is to be aware of the biases that exist in social media, and also be cautious of the potential illusion of public consensus that are actually generated by those puppet masters in communities that allows anonymity. And that's all for today, for our presentation today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.